Hey VC, how's it going? Right, okay, Rob Walker uploaded a video a couple of days ago celebrating his 200th video in the vinyl community, which is fantastic. So I've seen a few responses to this. Rob just showed artists from Manchester, where he's from. I've seen a couple of other videos of people showing 12 inches. Mine's just a random selection of 12s. Predominantly pop music. I could have gone with reggae, could have gone with soul, but it's a real mixed bag of stuff. So yeah, stuff that I perhaps wouldn't normally show. So see what you think. So first up, the special AKA with Nelson Mandela. This is after Terry Hall and the other guys left the band to form the Funboy 3. So this is predominantly Jerry Dammers. Obviously the message is a little bit dated. This came out in 83, but the music isn't at all. I think it's a fantastic tune, a real dancer. Okay, the obligatory Smith's 12 inch. This is Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now. This came in 84, didn't it? Yeah, so the reason why I'm showing this is because the B-side, Girl Afraid, which I think is one of my favourite Smiths tunes. Another Manchester band. This is electronic with Getting Away With It. One of the best records of the 1990s. This came out in 1990. It was certainly their debut single and certainly their best moment. So this was Bernard Sumner from New Order and Johnny Marr from the Smiths, featuring vocals from Neil Tennant of Pet Shop Boys. Which leads me on nicely, I almost planned this, you know, leads me on nicely to Pet Shop Boys and West End Girls. This is the Sunglasses at Night mix, produced by Bobby Orlando. I like the innocence of this version. It's a little bit clunky. It's got a real, I say, innocent charm to it. And yeah, this is a record that I've been playing quite a bit recently, so very cool. Another great pop band, Erasure, Vince Clarke and Andy Bell. My favourite album of theirs is Wild, that came out in 89. This is from the album that came out after that. This track is called Love to Hate You, and I've always liked the artwork on that, so that's very cool. Right, another single from 1990, actually a couple more. So this is Beats International with Dub Be Good to Me. So this is Norman Cook, Fatboy Slim himself, or you know, as he was prior to this in the House Martins. And this features the bass line from Guns of Brixton by The Clash, with the melody over the top, the vocal from the SOS band, Just Be Good to Me. Obviously re-recorded. When this came out in 1990, it was a #1 single in the UK. It was everywhere, it was massive, and I absolutely loved it. So yeah, a great 12. I say another track from 1990, Hippie Chick by Soho, and famously this features the guitar part, that sort of reverberating guitar part from How Soon Is Now by the Smiths, and used to great effect on that record. Now that sort of late 80s, early 90s sound, I really like those records made by Madonna from that sort of period. She put out Like a Prayer in 89, I think 91, 92, she put out Erotica. But in between that, she put out a best of the Immaculate Collection. And this was recorded specifically for that collection. So co-written by Lenny Kravitz, who made some brilliant records in the late 80s, early 90s. His first 3 records are records that everybody should own. A little bit soulful, a little bit rocky. It's, you know, a real mixture of stuff. But I say I do like Madonna from this sort of period, and this is Justify My Love. So a great 12. A little bit of Prince, gonna have some Prince in there. So this is Little Red Corvette, the dance mix, the 8-minute dance mix. Now, of course, this is the period where he started to become really big, because the video for 1999 and for Little Red Corvette was played all over MTV. But yeah, this is the original 12 from that period. As you can see, it's a maxi single, limited 30 centimetre, 45 RPM, not 12 inch, 30 centimetre. And talking about Prince, 2 other related artists, The Time and Cool. This is from their debut album, self-titled record, also from 82. And also Vanity 6, also from 82, is it? I think it's 82, yeah, 82. So this is Drive Me Wild. Now, both The Time and Vanity 6 were offshoot projects for Prince. So he wrote most of the stuff, he produced everything. The production is accredited to the Star Company. That's one of the names that Prince would go under, Jamie Starr. And say that's the 12 for Drive Me Wild. Now, when Prince went out on tour for the 1999 album in 82, he had 2 support bands. First on was Vanity 6, and they were followed by The Time before Prince and the Revolution came on. I would love to have seen those gigs. I've seen clips, I've seen there's some of the gigs are available on DVD, whatever, but I would love to have seen those gigs. Right, David Bowie, one of his biggest tunes, Let's Dance. I like the 12-inch version. This is a 7-minute version of the single, which of course was another #1 over in the UK, produced by Nile Rodgers, as was Duran Duran's Skin Trade. This came out in '87. It's from the Notorious album. Obviously Notorious was a really big tune, but this is my favourite record by the band. This is Simon Le Bon singing in his best Curtis Mayfield falsetto. Yeah, I play this a lot. My son is sick of hearing this song. I play that much, so there you go. Okay, I mentioned Burn the Sumner before. This is the 12 of New Order's Round and Round. I love all of the artwork for the singles and album from the Technique record. So it came out in '89. I think that's absolutely stunning, but a great 12 as well. Talking about artwork, this is fantastic. This is Primal Scream with their single Star. So this is taken from the Vanishing Point album, which came out, I think, '97. Now, I think this was the second single. The first one was Kowalski, and it features photographs of Bobby Hutton, who was one of the first members of the Black Panther Party. He was shot by police, sort of disagreement with the Oakland police. The story goes that he was surrendering at the time and was shot when he was unarmed. Obviously the police said very differently, so whatever story is true I don't know, but it's a famous incident in the civil rights movement. But beautiful photographs of Bobby Hutton there. Okay, this is Edwyn Collins and the single The Magic Piper. This is off, well, he had a massive album in '94. The single that came out was A Girl Like You, is a hit all over the world. One of my favourite songs. It's got a real sort of Northern Soul vibe going on. The album Gorgeous George, I say, a top 10 record for me. And the follow-up album, I'm Not Following You, this was the debut single, this was the single from it, the opening song from it, The Magic Piper. I love the artwork on this because it references the Natural 4 album that came out in the early 70s. I think this song was used in one of the Austin Powers films as well, but yeah, really nice stuff. Okay, a bit of dance music. Late 80s, this is Casillas with his tune Feeling For You. This features the sample of Gwen McRae from her track Keep the Fire Burning. But yeah, this was everywhere in the late 90s. Great tune. Another dance record, I think 2007 this one. Groove Armada with a track Song for Muccia. She was a member of the Sugar Babes. I think they've reformed recently, haven't they? And they're touring again, so she's back with them. But this just came out, I think this was her first single after she left the Sugar Babes. But I've always liked this. Groove Armada are a funny band. I really liked them at the time. I think a lot of their stuff hasn't dated too well, but I still think this is a great tune. Okay, mid-90s now, the Chemical Brothers featuring Noel Gallagher on vocals. This is Setting Sun, and this is from their second album, Dig Your Own Hole. I really like the music they made around this sort of period. Dig Your Own Hole and the follow-up album, Surrender, in particular, are great records, but that's a nice 12. And another one from them, the follow-up to Setting Sun, this is Block Rockin' Beats. Both singles #1 here in the UK, and I love that sleeve. Right, a song that should have been massive but stalled just outside the top 40. This is the first single put out on Rough Trade. So this is Scritti Politti with The Sweetest Girl and the 12-inch sort of dub version of that. I say a perfect record, should have been massive. Green Size vocal, again that sort of falsetto vocal style, just sublime, and one of my favourite records, but never a real hit. A record that was a hit, this is a #1 single, Blondie and Rapture. I think this was the first record to get to #1 that featured a rap, which of course Debbie Harry delivers. But yeah, a great 12. This is a slightly extended version of Disco Mix. Yeah, very cool. The Gina X Performance, no GDM. For some reason, this came out in '79 on Virgin. For some reason, I have 3 or 4 copies of this. I don't know. It's okay. It's not a great tune, but I seem to have a lot of copies of it. Another sort of late 90s dance tune, Basement Jaxx with Rendezvous. Is that from their Remedy album? I think it may be. Yeah, again, similar to Groove Armada. I like some of their stuff. I'm not sure that all of their stuff is dated that well, but this is still a great single. Now, I learned something about this next record just the other day. This is Zig Zig Sputnik with Love Missile F111, a #1 single here in the UK. I bloody loved this record when it came out. What I never realised is that it's produced by Giorgio Moroder. Now, I've seen Giorgio Moroder play live 5-6 years ago, where we did sort of a greatest hits set with people singing his songs, you know, whether it be Donna Summer tunes, even Lamal, you know, Blondie, Call Me, everything was in there. This wasn't. It should have been. It's one of his best tunes. Okay, an out and out pop tune. I'm not going to make any apologies for this. Wham, Club Tropicana, get my words out. A great 12, fantastic bass line, and I don't have enough positive words to say about George Michael, so there you go. Next up, Everything But the Girl, Walking Wounded. So this period of the band I find fascinating, where they went from a very serious sort of acoustic pop duo, and they ended up in a sort of, well, following the Missing single, which was sort of remixed on their behalf, wasn't it? It was a massive hit. They sort of followed that route themselves with that sort of dance vibe, and I think this is still one of their best tunes, and I love the album this is from, and again, fantastic artwork. Just a few more. You can't go wrong with Early Simple Minds. This is the 12 of I Travel on Virgin Records. Although saying that, I don't mind their sort of bombastic 80s stadium rock period either. You know, the Once Upon a Time album I still play quite a bit. You know, it's got its, you know, it has its place. But yeah, that's a great tune. If you want a slow jam, Gregory Abbott, Shake You Down, you can't go wrong with that. I mean, you'll find that for pennies, and it's a brilliant song. And finally, you know, one of the great 12-inch singles, Bauhaus with Bela Lugosi's Dead. This cost somebody £1.99. I don't think I paid much more than that, but it's, yeah, a classic 12, and perhaps the one that I'm going to play next. So there you go, Rob. That's 30 12-inch singles in, I don't know, 5 minutes. Cheers.